So I want to talk a little bit about property taxes. You guys have seen this slide before too, and really the takeaway here is that what I'm responsible for and what the councilman is responsible for is 20% of your tax bill. And the balance of that goes to other public agencies. The largest chunk, obviously, is the public school system. What did the council approve 2 weeks ago? And I guess that current means the current tax year. One of the things that we did, and we all probably got pretty hefty increases in our appraisals from the appraisal district back in April. But the takeaway from the council in April was that let's give us an alternative where everybody gets some tax relief. And I say it that way, and I'll explain to you what that meant and what we did. So we had a homestead exemption of, it was really $5,000. It was established 2 years ago. The council approved the homestead exemption, increasing that to 10% of your homestead value. We also have an over 65 exemption that was set at $65,000 and had not been changed in quite some time. We increased that to $85,000. And then we had a disabled tax exemption of $12,500 that had not been increased in probably 18 years. And we equalized that with the over 65. Now everybody still has the senior tax freeze in place. And when I say that balance right there, as we project it to the council, we believe when appeals are all said and done over at the appraisal district and we get the final estimates at the end of July, then we're going to reduce the tax rate. And so what that means for everybody is that a reduction in the tax rate means that multifamily, commercial, business, industrial, residential see some sort of reduction. You have an increase in the residential homestead exemption, which means that if you own your home, then you get a reduction. And then if you're over 65 and you're disabled, you see that. So we ran no short of 15 different scenarios for the council to look at, and this is the one that they adopted 2 weeks ago. It'll be in place for the tax year 2023, your next tax statement. This does not account for the constitutional amendments that the voters approved that required some exemption increases for the public school systems. I don't know if we have anybody from the appraisal district here tonight, but please watch that because you need to make sure that you are taking advantage of those tax exemptions that exist. Here's a good example of some operating expenses, and one of them is a District 10 project. We're constructing the Fire Station 24 off Austin Highway. It's right at the line of Districts 2 and 10, making sure that we've got the money set aside. That's scheduled to open up in September or October of this year. So make sure you have the money set aside for that new building. We've got 3 other projects that are scheduled here in District 10. This is just a highlight that'll be open in 23 or 24. The second one, making sure that we've got the maintenance dollars to account for that additional Greenway Trail system. So we've got 2 or 3 more district meetings to go. Again, this is an opportunity for you to talk about what your priorities are. Before we finalize any sort of proposed budget, and we'll be back out in August or September. Generally, the District 10 one is pretty far up on the calendar. It's usually the first or second one that we come to. So I suspect we'll be out here in 45 days or so. But this is a real big push. This is the part that we're trying to do differently this year, is try to enhance and allow for more time for the public input on the front end. For those of you that have not taken the budget survey, you've got your smartphone, you can use that or visit the table over here off to the side or there to the back. You can take the survey back there if you want. It's not a long survey. It gets to the point pretty quickly because we wanted to make sure that we got as much input as possible. So I present the proposed budget to council on August 11th. We'll go through a whole series of work sessions and public meetings as well, and the council is scheduled to adopt on September 15th. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mike.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's give him a hand, everybody. Anybody have any specific questions? We can take just a couple. We've got a packed agenda. Any questions that you're not afraid to ask? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Well, since you're familiar with Animal Care Services, the compensation for veterinarians to compete with the private sector and the working conditions under which they work out there is vital to this city.
We already adjusted. We adjusted in the springtime because we were having a challenge. And a little unusual, but we were able to afford within our existing budget. I had HR pull the areas of our civilian workforce that we were having the most difficulty hiring and that we had the highest vacancy rate. And we made mid-year market adjustments for those jobs in April because I couldn't wait until October. And we were able to afford it. The vets were one of them. 2/3 of the 2,000 were what I would call blue-collar type positions, and then a third were white-collar. But I mean, think about what the city does. We've got hundreds of professions and jobs. And so from CDL drivers to lawyers to accountants to public health nurses to folks that run the 911 system or do maintenance in our facilities, plumbing inspectors across the board. And so that's another component, and I'll be presenting to council additional changes that we'll need to do beginning October 1.
Because as you know, that's vital to this city is
Yeah,
veterinary.
let's move on now. We had one back here. Go ahead, sir. Speak up.
I wanted to say thank you for all the efforts, but specifically for the Greenway Trails. I really appreciate it.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And that was a big component of the bond program. Another 21 miles, $103 million in the bond program. It is and spoiler alert, in the 2027 bond program, we're probably going to need about another 80 to 100 to finish the work completely with all the watersheds. So don't be surprised. There'll be a request for you.
Well, Eric, listen, thank you very much for this valuable briefing. We sure do appreciate it. Let's move on.
We'll have staff here if anybody's shy or wants to. We've got the Public Works Director, we've got Finance, if you've got some tax questions, and then other departments here.
Yeah, and August 15th, you guys will be back. So.
Oh, it's already scheduled, all right.
Yeah. Great, good seeing you. Okay, moving right along. Let's talk about SA Tomorrow City Planning. And to do that, we've got a couple of senior planners with us, Anna Villarreal and Jacob Howard. If you can come forward. Testing, testing. Anybody here? No? It's on. Testing.
We can hear you.
We're gonna have to adjust this one here.
All the way down.
There you go. You bet.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, well, you cannot hear me? Oh my, come closer. We need you closer. So
Speak very loudly.
I will try. Is that better?
That's better.
It's much better.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Ana Villarreal. I am a planner planner with the planning department, and with me is Jacob Howard. He's also senior planner, and we are here to speak to you about the SA Tomorrow comprehensive plan. So thank you, Mr. Gallagher, for having us back. We were actually here last month to give you more detailed information about this. So if we're gonna cover everything really quickly, it's more of a recap, but if you have more questions and want information more in detail, we do have a table set up at the far end, and you can visit us. We'll be here at the very end of this presentation as well. How do I start?
It's on the podium.
Ah, so this? Wow, awesome. Okay, so just for those new faces, I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those of you that have never heard about the SA Tomorrow Comprehensive Plan, we do have a comprehensive plan to lead the growth and development in the city. Basically, that will be the blueprint for growth and development, and because of the size of the city, we have embarked on this huge task by developing our sub-area efforts into 30 different sub-area plans or regions. We call them sub-area plans. And those are also subdivided into 5 different categories. Right now, we're just starting the phase 3. And we have 4 different regional plans, which are those areas that you see shaded in blue. Those regional centers basically have been identified as areas of economic activity. And then we have 2 different areas called community areas, which are primarily residential areas. So what you need to know is that 4 of these regional centers are located within your district. So it's very likely if you're here that you are part of one of those. So we have the Rolling Oaks area, which is entirely within District 10. We also have a portion of our Stone Oak plan within District 10, a portion of that from the greater airport area, and then we have a tiny piece from the Fort Sam Houston area within District 10. So if you're not sure if you fall within one of these, come visit us at the table. We can look up your address and tell you if you are within one of these and give you more information. But like I said, we're here to recap on or give you updates on what we've done since last month that we visited, which is we had our community meeting number 1 for those 4 areas. So this is the Rolling Oaks Area Community Meeting 1, which was hosted at the Scenes Library on May 31st from 5:30 to 7:30. And all of the 4 meetings were hosted in an open house format in which we provided the existing condition analysis, and then we provided an activity asking for those community members to tell us what is it that you like in the area, what's missing, and what would you like to see change in the area. And we are here to ask your feedback. If you live within that area and you were not a part of this community meeting, we do have the link, which is the SASpeakup.com/Rolling Oaks -plan-survey, and we also have some pump cards in our table which you can take with you so you don't have to write anything down right now. But just important date is that July 4th will be the closing date of that survey. And also we have our community meeting number 2 in October, but you should receive a postcard as time approaches. So you don't have to remember that right now, but just be on the lookout for that postcard around October. Some of the main things that we heard is that people like the Comanche Lookout Park. They like that it's a quiet area, it has access to major roads, and it's very low density. People that live within the area think that what's missing are green spaces, better street connections, more dining and entertainment options. And what they would like to see change in the future is to have more safety, bikeways and sidewalks, also less warehouses and industrial uses. Then we have our Greater Airport Area Community Meeting number 1. That was on June 7th. Again, this is the major takeaways, which is that people like the accessibility and central location, parks and trails, and existing neighborhoods. People feel that what's missing is the public safety, walkable places, bicycle infrastructure, and public transportation. And what they would like to change for the future is to improve maintenance and code enforcement, reduce noise, also add more multimodal transportation options. And also, our survey will be closing on July 4th, so if you live within this area, work within this area, or know people that do, please share this link as well. Again, we have the palm cards with that information for you to take with you. Then we just had the Fort Sam Houston Area Community Meeting last week. That was hosted at the AT&T Center, HEB Fan Zone. That was from also 5:30 to 7:30, and some of the key takeaways is that people like their community and neighbors. They feel like it's quiet, but it has access to city amenities and shopping, and the ability to have horses and access to Greenway. What's missing from the area, according to its residents, it's more mobility options that connect to Salado Creek across Fort Sam. Also more horse trails, bike lanes, better internet access, buffers between industrial and residential uses. And what they would like to change for the future is infrastructure and access, especially around railroads, bus stops, more investment, and also ensuring community safety. That survey closing date is also on July 4th. And again, you can have more information if you approach us. And then we have the Stone Oak Area Community Meeting, which was hosted at the Wayside Chapel off Evans Road on May 17th. What people like from the area is that there's a lot of parks, retail, restaurants, the topography, and its natural systems. People feel that what's missing is more mobility options, such as bicycles and via walkable neighborhoods, and amenities such as community centers and senior centers. Also, they would like to change the mixed use and improve connectivity, transit, and keep more trees. This survey has been closed, but you can always approach us or email the project manager, and we can give you that contact information, because like I said, this plan is just starting. So we will have more surveys in the future and more opportunities to engage you as we develop this plan. And the tentative date for the meeting number 2 will be the week of October 24th, but you will receive again a postcard with more meeting details as it approaches. And just to show you how to access, because we really would like to have your feedback if you were not a part of this meeting, is that you can access the main project website, and it's either rollingoaks.sacomplan.com, greaterairport.sacomplan.com, or fortsamhouston.sacomplan.com. And then you will see a link in orange that says click here to take survey. So that will take you to the survey. If you, again, go to our main project website, or you can go straight to the survey if you go through the SA Speak Up platform. So either way, you can access the survey. All of those three, the Rolling Oaks, Greater Airport, and Fort Sam, will be open until July 4th, so please share, take the time, know that we are really interested in creating a plan that is reflective of your needs, of your wants, your desires, but we cannot do it without you. So please make sure that you sign up for updates, go and fill out the survey, and let us know if you have questions. We'll be in the very back. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, thank you very much, Anna. That was a good one, and we need everybody's feedback, so please check in over at that table when the meeting's over with. Now let's hear a really interesting one, this Great Springs Trails project. David Bemprod and Scott Parker are here to talk to us about this one I think you'll find most interesting. Gentlemen?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike, and thank you all so much. I'm going to do my very best to hold the mic just like this the whole time. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for allowing us to come and present to y'all. It's a real pleasure. I first want to give a huge shout out to all of the city staff who presented to you today, not just the city manager, but all of the amazing other city staff members who every day go to work for y'all to make sure that your city serves what you want to see in it. I also want to do a shout out to everyone I know y'all have probably heard about this, but we just had a huge bond that luckily passed and is going to go to serve generations of future San Antonians. And some of your neighbors are the people who were on those bond committees to make sure that the projects that were included actively reflect what you wanted to see. I was inspired to give the shout out by Bob Bishop, who served with me on the streets bond. But can we do a quick round of applause for all the people in this room who work with their city staff to make City of San Antonio awesome? Thank you all. I'm here to talk to y'all today about a project that I work on called the Great Springs Project. I'm joined here by Scott Parker, who's our land transactions director, and we're going to talk to you about what Great Springs Project is and how we can help y'all make your communities safe, accessible, green, and enjoyable. So I'll hand it over to Scott.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. And I'm going to start with a really quick anecdote. When I was a child, I grew up in the desert. It felt like a vast desert. Our family had an old adobe hacienda in the middle of nowhere. If you got a little bit of elevation on it, it was the only structure, the only trees you could see for miles. And that desert was my backyard. It's where I grew up and played. We had horses and dogs and chickens and everything you're supposed to have. By the time I went to high school, we sold that house and moved into a more conventional neighborhood. And after high school, my brother and sisters and I all moved on to different places. And about 20 years after that, I was back home again and thought, I'm going to find that old house. Now, we all know where we grew up. You have a homing beam on it, and I drove to where it should be, and I drove down a street and another street and another street, and there were houses that all looked the same, and it took me 30 minutes to find my old house. It was still there, but 30 minutes. That's a lot about change. That's how change can impact our communities and our lives, and I'm willing to bet everyone in this room has a story somewhat similar to that. Now, about 10 years or so ago, a group of people came together who started to think, what will change mean for Central Texas? What will it mean for our natural resources? What will it mean for our communities? What will it mean for those things that we all hold dear living here in the state of Texas, these iconic landscapes? And as they kind of thought about that and change began to happen, they said, you know what, we need to look at a couple of things that are really important. How do we keep our communities healthy, safe, sustainable, economically viable? And how do we think about our natural resources and how we protect them in the face of change? And that's what about 3 years ago became the Great Springs Project. Private nonprofit organization with a dual mission that I'm going to be sharing with you today. If I find the right button, there we go. So what are we dealing with here? I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but when we think about population growth across the country, and then here in our 4-county area, between now and 2036, the population of the United States is going to go up about 11%. Across the state of Texas, it's going to go up about 31%. Here in our 4-county area, population increase of 39%, nearly 40%. And as we think about that, what happens with that kind of growth? There's some good things that happen, strong economy, attractive business climate, but there are also strains on our natural resources, like our water supply. There's strains on our roadways and how we get from point A to point B. And there is the loss of open space, and concurrent with that loss of open space, damages to our habitats and to our wildlife. And as we heard about earlier, as we start to build out more and there's more hard surface and less soil to hold and mitigate these storm events we have, there's flooding. Very often, as we all seen and experienced, catastrophic flooding. So that's one of our goals. How do we protect these resources that provide these great services? The other thing that we want to be thinking about is, what is our community? How do we protect that? All of you are here tonight because you are part of homeowner associations. That tells me you care about your neighborhood, you care about your home, your family, your quality of life, and even more than that, we're not just dealing with one neighborhood association here, we're dealing with, what, 6 or 7?
86.
86. That tells me that you care about your community. And that's really impressive. You're giving of your time tonight and all throughout the year, and one of the things you're dealing with is change. And how do we manage change? How do we find good change? And how do we mitigate change that isn't so good? That's the other prong of our Work at Great Springs project. So how do we tie this together? We are looking at the four major springs between San Antonio and Austin, up from the Alamo to the Capitol. San Antonio Springs, Kamal Springs, San Marcos Springs, and Barton Springs, as the spokes of a larger network of trails. We're looking to create a connected set of trails, spring to spring. Now, there are many trails already in place here in Bear County, Kamal, Hayes, and Travis County. So we're not building a whole new trail. Rather, we are looking to find those gaps and connect them. And whether you as a person are looking at trails is, I would like to just go out and walk my dog and enjoy the greenery and the fresh air. Or if you're more ambitious, saying, I'm gonna hike down to the grocery store and get what I want. Or if you're really ambitious, say, I'm gonna take a hike all the way up this trail. We're looking at connecting our communities by a spring to spring trail. The other prong of this, as we think about these four iconic springs, is how do we protect those springs and the water that goes into them? Every drop of water that comes out of your kitchen tap comes out of the Edwards Aquifer. National polling, when voters are asked to vote on a bond measure for parks or open space or recreation, the only group of voters in the entire country that know what an aquifer is are found in these four counties. You all know how important this is. So the second prong of Great Springs Project is to protect an additional 50,000 acres of land around these four Great Springs to make sure that we're getting good quality water in, that we're storing good quality water, we're protecting the habitat around it, and we're protecting something that is iconic and near and dear to all of our hearts. This is not a new story. I just want to call out real quickly. When we think about the Four Springs or the communities around the Four Springs or I-35, God help us all, I-35 is just a current manifestation of a trail that's been there for centuries. Native people saw these four springs as part of their origin story and did pilgrimages on it. The Spanish explorers and missions were created along these same four great springs. So it's no wonder that I-35 is there and that these communities have grown up around there, because the springs sustain our lives here, sustain our economy, really define who we are. I don't know if I can go back. I am going to go back. So the next few slides I'm going to go through really quickly. I just want to highlight the fact that we are looking to connect our communities and protect our springs as the two main objectives, working with communities like San Antonio, cities like San Antonio, to see this come forward. We've done our homework, and I won't spend time on this because we don't have a lot of time to spend, but we have worked to make sure that we have included every voice we can find up and down this four-county corridor to say what is most important to you and to your community. How do you want to recreate? How do you want to feel connected? How do you want to protect those unique characteristics of your community? How can we do that? And what's important to you when we think about the springs and protecting our water supplies? That's part of our equity task force. We've also developed a very significant Trails Development Steering Committee. You can see there's an awful lot of names there, and I can't pick them all out. Maybe you can, or we can always get this to you later. But we want to make sure that as we think about connecting trails, that we have voices from everywhere saying, here's what we're looking for. Trails are not all the same. It is not one 4-foot wide piece of concrete. In some places it's a soft surface. Some places it needs to be ADA accessible. Some places it is something that connects economic opportunities like shopping centers or bikeways. So we've spent a lot of time on that. Now, I'm going to turn this back over to David. He's going to walk us through a little bit more of the particulars. You're up, David.
Thank you, Scott. I'm just going to take this out because I like walking a little bit. This is our team, and y'all don't need to hear about why each of us work for Great Springs, but I work here because I was born here. Because I grew up walking along what became the Salado Creek Greenway, and I saw what greenways and parks can do for our communities. We also work with land and trails partners up and down the corridor. This list could be 6 different slides long, and you do not have time to hear any of it. But all of your neighborhood associations are groups of passionate people. Everyone on this list is a passionate person and a passionate organization. We want to partner with your community to make sure that if y'all have access to recreation that is high quality and that you get what you want, that you're not having someone come in and say, we're going this way, that y'all's voices get represented in the conversation. The 50,000 acres and the Spring to Spring Trail are good ideas on their own. But what's even better is coming from these 2 goals. We estimated through our trails plan, which is public on our website, we recommend everyone give it a look, about $55 million of annual benefits to communities up and down the corridor. A lot of that going here in Bexar County. That's coming from economic benefits of people using the trails to recreate and getting to where they need to go, and about new development along the trails that might not be able to exist anywhere else. We're not talking about taking anyone's home, but in an industrial park, that can be retrofitted into something great that you want to be at. That is economic development and change, like Scott said, that's the right kind, that serves the people of our community. But this money doesn't just come from our local government, which has already done an amazing job on greenway trails and park space. There are leveraging funds at the federal and state levels through the Texas Department of Transportation and various federal grants that I won't go into because no one in this room cares about it except me. But that can go a long way into making sure that the trails and parks that serve our city are beautiful and well taken care of. And the City of San Antonio, like I said, is already doing an incredible job. Through the 2022 City of San Antonio bond, as the city manager laid out, about $103 million of greenway projects have been approved. The one that we are super excited about that is just that way is the Vital Creek Greenway Extension, which is a project that your city government and city staff and your city council member has been pushing for a long time. And we are so happy to finally see it practically fully funded. But that $103 million investment is just barely keeping pace with Bexar County, which is putting about $227 million over the next decade into trails. And finally, there are other funding sources that come through TERS districts and various other ways to make sure that these trails don't just get funded, don't just exist in a drainage way and rot, but get taken care of, that are safe, fully accessible, and beautiful, exciting places to be in. We've done, like Scott said, we have a ton of maps, we have a trails plan, we have a whole vision that we are excited for you to dig in. And I wanted to put up this map, which is also over there at a table, and come say hi to our intern, Jack, about where we think the trail is going to go. The key word is think. Our trails plan is conceptual. Most of what we have on here is from an existing city plan, or from, that's not just San Antonio, but that's cities like Selma and Schertz. And these maps are ideas. What we want to hear from is you. Where do you want the trail to go? What's going to be most impactful for your community? So please reach out to us and come see us. And it's not just about determining where it's going to go, it's about making sure that we have the credential and the skill to make it happen. In Hays County, we've worked with various funders to put new public space through their bond under conservation. Here in San Antonio, we're working actively to try and get additional funds to improve greenways that currently are substandard or are unsafe. And that's all bringing us to a vision that we have. This is a slide that we show quite a bit, which is it only takes 25 feet to make a park. We don't need to spend tens of millions of dollars in every spot to make something great. You can make an attractive, enjoyable, safe, and comfortable place practically anywhere with just a little bit of love. I know you all love your communities. I love mine. I was a D9 resident growing up, so don't hate me. But
D9ers here.
Very good, that's good to hear. But we want to be a partner to y'all. We're a nonprofit, like Scott said. The government leaders who come before you today, they are obligated to serve you. It's our job to make sure that they don't have to go it alone. That we're an enhancer not just to you, but to them. We want to be helpful, but more so we want your voices to be amplified in the discussions around what kind of stuff is built in your community. Thank you all. Please ask any questions you may have.
Do you have any idea when the work would actually start?
So that's a great question. The question was, when will the work actually start? There are sections of trail that are already under construction right now. Parts of Vital Creek are already under construction. There's construction managed by our amazing park staff all over San Antonio that will be part of this larger Greenway network. In terms of the whole goal of getting a spring-to-spring trail from the Alamo to the Capitol, we're looking at a finish line by 2036. But a vast proportion of this is going to be done way before then. We want to give ourselves time because there are those last bits that just take forever, and we're going to get them done. But it's going to take some time.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much. Let's give him a big hand. Well, that's some important information that's going to affect a lot of people for many, many years. So please check with them after the meeting. You've got to ask some good questions of them. We're about to hear from Councilman Perry, but before we do, we've been asked from a couple of people to make some announcements. One of them was an NEISD announcement, and we've got Capricia Wells with us tonight that wanted to say something. Go ahead, Capricia. Let's welcome her, everybody.
All right, good evening, everyone. I see some of my Illyrians here, actually. I'm Dr. Caprica Wells, and I am from NEISD School District, and I wanted to present or really give you an invite to our, what we call our Illyrians, and it is Academy of Learning in Retirement. And what this is we have social dancing. I have learned how to play the ukulele. I have learned how to mountain dance. I see some of the Illyrians in here. I have learned how to do different types of dancing. I'm pretty good too, so y'all can come and challenge me. But we are located in the Community Learning Center right off of Tesoro. So I just really want to invite you guys to come out. What it is, over 30 years ago, it was launched to make sure that we provided affordable educational opportunities to seniors. So today we partner with them, and we have over 80 classes to offer. And so we are trying to get you guys back in person, like come see us. We have several classes and classrooms, so we're able to, socially distance and all of that good stuff. We sanitize after every class, because when you dance, sweat, and all that good stuff happens. And so we make sure that we do that, but I just want to invite you, 55 and up. I'm 47, so I may be, there pretty soon. But really want to just say, we are here for the community. In a time where people have been at home in isolation, it's really hard to get that social and emotional kind of up and out, right? And so I just wanted to extend that invite to you all. There are several brochures over on the side over there, and just come join us. We have everything from history class to travel. I have a 94-year-old that teaches travel right now. It's amazing. It's all online virtually, and you go to Paris and you go to these different places. So we want to make sure that for our community, we have something for you and or your caregiver, or if you're caring for somebody, you can bring them out. You can come as a couple, come as a group. We just want to make sure that you know that we are available. So thank you for your time.
Very good.
I'll have some brochures right up here on the side.
Okay, yeah, another District 10 appointee. Yeah, let's hear from him. Roy Shovel. He's Small Business Economic Development Advocacy Committee. So just trying to remember the name of your committee. Sorry about that. Let's give him a big hand, everybody.
Thank you all for having me here this evening. A couple things about this very quick 4-minute presentation. Number one, it is the last presentation of the day. Number two, it's very, very short. And number 3, there is no PowerPoint with my presentation. So with that said, I would like to give a shout out to Councilman Perry for all his efforts in getting the exemptions passed through and the support of Councilman Perry on the budget. I don't know about y'all, but I like my money and I like my money in my pocket. So with that, Small Business Economic Development Advocacy. We are a committee of appointees, 10 districts, 1 mayoral appointment, and in that regard, it is our mission to put information into the hands of the Economic Development Department of the City of San Antonio, and to make sure we abide by what's called the SBADA law, Small Business Economic Development Advocacy. And it's a way where we can keep our money in San Antonio, actually the 8-county area around us, and we do this very, very well. We have a variety of things that we are working on. We've had a great deal of input. I have not yet gotten into trouble, which pretty major event for me. With that, I am the vice chairman of this committee. I've been on it for 3 years, thanks to Samantha reaching out and getting me on there. I served on Mike Shannon's Board of Adjustment as an alternate for a number of years before. But our mission, we want to keep this money that we just passed, and it's a lot of money. It's a heck of a lot of money. We want to keep it as close to home as possible, not only for the work to benefit us, but for those monies to benefit our local businesses. So we have some target goals. First goal, fancy names. Aspirational goals is what city staff calls it. Aspirational goals to me are target goals. So we want to get that bond money for engineering, architecture, and landscaping services into the hands, targeting 35% of those monies for small businesses, targeting 25% of that money for minority and or woman-owned business enterprises, and 3% of the money for African American enterprises. We want to keep the money here. And I have a great deal of input from Councilman Perry and his staff to begin working on some other things. Don't know how they'll go. As you can tell, I'm very, very shy. I don't speak up a lot on occasion. But with that, I'm going to do my best job I can for y'all in District 10. I'm proud to represent District 10, proud to have been appointed. I thank you for that, young man. So with that, I have information over here. If you've got a small business, you need to be talking to me. And thank you, Sam, appreciate that. So, Mr. Gallagher.
Thank you, Roy.
I told you 4 minutes or less, I think I've done it.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman, one other brief announcement before you start. A lawn jet from our hometown heroes wants 1 minute and 30 seconds.
1 minute. All right, howdy folks, my name is Lon Jet IV. I'm President and CEO with Veterans for America. I have a treat for you guys. We're doing black and white this time. World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Only black and white. We're gonna have the banners set up next month, somewhere around the mid to late July. And they have to be, we have 8 already picked out, and we're about to do the ceremony in pretty quick here. So these are our next hometown heroes. I just want to let you know they're from World War II, Korea, Vietnam. And they'll be on Thousand Oaks from El Sendero down to the daycare center. And by now you've guys seen the 14 banners that we have up, right? Yep. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Thank you. I brought that back from Huntington Beach, California. We have to have a shout out for California. Just look at our brochures, and that's all the time that I have. Thank you.
Very good.
And Councilman Perry, thank you for your patience waiting all this time. Let's give him a hand.
Okay, I was told I got 1 minute. No, howdy, and thank y'all for coming tonight. Great crowd as always. I had a lot of things that I want to talk about tonight, but I also, what I really want to do is recognize some people. So Marcia, why don't you come on up here? Councilman Plant, Councilman Souls, why don't y'all come up here also? Marcia recently got elected to what position?
Place 7, Madison District.
Okay, place 7 for the school district, NEISD. So I wanted to and I also want to give you a coin. This is a District 10 coin, and not everybody gets these. These are special awards for those that do special things here for the district. So looking forward to a lot of great things that are going to come out of you and in your term of service there. So let me coin you. You got to shake my hand, and we turn it over, and that's yours. Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you, Mark. Y'all probably recognize these two individuals here, and I talked a little bit about them last time at the District 10 meeting. They didn't show up. They were going to be here, and they did not show. So I got to talk about what they did on the redistricting. You know that we're intact here in District 10, and we had some liabilities out there, but these two gentlemen were able to fight off the wolves and keep District 10 where we're at. So I want to really thank these people. And I also like, because look, redistricting comes once every 10 years when we do the census, right? So this is a 10-year deal. So we're good to go for 10 more years. We'll see what the next group does.
We're not doing the next one.
Yeah. I think we'll all be past that point. But again, I think at least I am very, very thankful that District 10 is basically staying the way we are, except for one small neighborhood that was a split neighborhood between 9 and 10, that they wanted to go to District 9, and I said, absolutely, that's not an issue. And y'all were able to work that out as well. And so we're staying the way we are. So thank y'all very much again. Sir, same thing here. Thank you very much again. Appreciate it. Just real quickly, I too wanted to talk about the homestead exemption. Eric has already talked about that, but remember when I started that back in 2017 and I got zero support? Well, 2 years later, 3 years later, I got unanimous approval to get the lowest. We started it. But my commitment to you was that that's just the starting point. We're going to continue to build on that. And I delivered. We're now at the 10%, which I got unanimous approval. 2 years ago, nobody wanted to approve it. But this year, unanimous approval again to take it up to the 10%. And guess what? I'm not done yet. I'm going to take it up to the max, which is 20%. And guess what's happened because the city council has provided that leadership? The county is now doing a homestead exemption. They took it up to 20% right away, which is fantastic. But I made a commitment to go around to all those other taxing entities saying, hey, look, folks, y'all have gotten all this additional money over all these years. Why can't you provide a homestead exemption also? With those 2 state amendments to the Constitution, plus the city, plus the county, we're going to see some real homestead values reduced because of those exemptions. And I want to keep working on that for you. So stay tuned. If y'all want to come along with me to these other entities and be my support out there and, give me the old rah, rah, rah when I'm up there talking, I'll let y'all know and y'all can come with me, all right? How about that? All right. That was, a plea from my staff is making sure that we do get all of our neighborhoods registered with the city. That's our way of keeping in touch with you and your residents about what's going on here in District 10. So if you're not re-registered, you got to do this once a year, right, Sam? Or is it once every 2 years? I think it's once every 2 years. But if you don't know, ask your board, have you re-registered with the city? That is very, very important. So please continue to do that so that we can keep in touch with you. And that's all I have, unless there's any questions out there for me,
Any
sir.
questions for the councilman? Okay, very good. Let's give him a hand, everybody. Okay, just pull your crayons out for a couple of important dates. The next District 10 meeting will be right here on July 18th. Our next NNA meeting will be August 15th, and that's when we'll be doing some more budget talk. This Neighbors Together, you know about that? We used to call it National Night Out. Be looking at that one. Be talking to your boards about that. It's gonna be held on October 4th, but you've got a plan on how you wanna do that, and make sure the city knows what it is your neighborhood's gonna be doing. And then one that I know everybody will really get a kick out of is on October 17th, we'll have one of those candidates forum, and there's gonna be a bunch of them, and we'll have it right here in this room. So that should be pretty fascinating. Okay, Councilman Clamp, I need your help. We're gonna have to now do the drawing for the door prizes.
Who I am? Is he more trustworthy?
Come on.
You get the practice.
Mr. Gallagher?
Would
Would
you
you repeat the date for August again?
Certainly. The August meeting is August 15th,
Yes, I'm your
the
helper.
next
Yes.
Alliance meeting. Sorry about that, I was talking fast. We're over 8 o'clock though, that's one more. Okay, the first winner, take a look at your tickets. I'm gonna read the last 3 numbers. Are you ready to go? Try not to get too excited. 1, 3, 0. Way in the back. You're gonna get it worked out today, huh?
Okay, next one, for a bottle of wine. We all want this one.
Here we go. The next one goes to 1, 3, 6. 136. Going once? Going twice?
Ooh.
Okay, new number. The next winner, 1, 4, 8. 148.
You sure you're reading them
Everybody on
right?
the wagon? What's going on, sir? Okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah, someone just call it.
Here we go. 1, 4, 4.
She's got it.
Ta-da!
Oh! Woo-hoo! Okay.
Next winner, and this one, another bottle of wine, plus it's got an ACOG cup in it and some other items. Number 1, 4, 2, 142. Back here, way to go.
That's a lot of gifts. Take 2.
Take 2.
Yeah. Speed it up. Okay.
First one is for.
They're both for gift cards. So we're just.
One each.
Right. So T has 2
All right,
packs.
the first gift card will go to 180. 180.
Right there. All right. And the second one?
The second gift card goes to 139. 139.
There we go.
All
Got
right,
one
Treasurer
more.
Van Kirk, would you like to explain what this is we're about to give away?
Basically, it's ping pong, custom ping pong paddle set.
Nice.
Wow.
This ought to keep you busy or give one for the grandkids. 135. 135. Way in the back, all right. Oh, and look at this. This is our last and most beautiful gift. We really appreciate this.
Okay, that's donated from District 10 for the 4th of July, right?
Thank you, D10.
We thought this would be beautiful on someone's door for 4th of July. Let's see. Pick a good one.
Okay, the last gift, most dramatic. Here we go, everybody. Look carefully. 189. 189. We got
Looks
it?
like it's mine.
Going once, twice? Okay. Here we go. The final award goes to 186. 186. We got a winner.
Yay!
Wait a second. She's related to the guy that pulled the ticket.
Okay, that's all for us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for turning out. We got a lot of information. Don't forget our representatives at the desks here to pick up that valuable information tonight.